Cameroon is located in Central Africa with a population of nearly 19 million people and one of the highest literacy rates in Africa of about 67%. And yet many people remain unable to read and uneducated. When I came to Cameroon in May of 2008, little did I know what an experience of faith I was getting in on. A man by the name of Charles Itchu helped begin the work in Yato.
Well, coming to Yato itself has been a miracle, and that's the evidence that God really wanted me here. It's still God's providence and miracle. Now, the work which started here was opened by Eva, a friend of mine in Europe, and she came here as a volunteer. And when she came, I had other villages in mind. I had another place in mind. So the first day we set out to go to one of these places, it rained so heavily that we could not leave the road to catch one of the bush taxis that would take us to the village. And we could not trek also because of the rains. So we were just stuck out there. And after about an hour, I said, "Hey Eva, we are not progressing. Why don't we try another option? There is another village, which if we catch a bus from there, when we talk about a bus, a different notion from what some people have, and the bus will take us close to the village, and walking into the village may not be as difficult as this one." And so we took a bus and we found ourselves here. Just upon arrival, the very first person we stopped to greet and talk to, something happened there that really, really gave us evidence God wanted us here. A small boy was rushed to this lady's place because she has some knowledge in medical sciences, so she offers first aid to the villagers. He was having convulsions from high fevers. I think he had contracted malaria. So we were right there. We had a small bag of medical supplies and stuff like that. So we assisted this lady in bringing down the boy's temperature, and we assisted with some other things. And soon we found out that many of the children had one or two complaints. Some had untreated wounds that had lasted 3 months or more. There were really, really terrible conditions that could be handled with just a little means that which they did not have. So we devoted ourselves in treating these children and soon treating their parents. And then more of them were coming. "Oh, I have gastric pain. Oh, I have headaches that never cease. I have fevers always coming back in the night." And that's when I realized that actually I had something to give, which I'd been minimizing, saying, "Oh Lord, I'm not trained. All those things I'd read in health books came up to my mind suddenly. And of course with Eva. So we started explaining to them what really is the cause of their sicknesses. We told them what could be the likely cause of their headaches or their gastric pains and those fevers, and how they could adjust their diets and what they could do for the meantime as first aid. And the results were so wonderful. I think God blessed what we were doing more than even what was applied. We soon discovered that the village had no school, and little kids have to trek 6 kilometers every day to get to school. A few who have the means have to take a bus every day to go to a town not far from here. I must tell you, it's very expensive for the standards here. And so you see many kids end up not going to school. Now, as our Sabbath school class grew, we soon had 7 families worshiping with us. And sometimes I can remember we had up to 30 kids. And I handled the children's Sabbath school. And those children, those kids didn't know anything. They were not, they didn't have a chance of going to school. They've never been to school, and there was no hope they were ever going to be in school. And so the Lord put it in my mind, these questions. You see, these families are worshiping with us. These kids are worshiping with us. And some of them, their parents are not coming, but their parents permit them to come for Sabbath school classes. And they're growing to be uneducated like their parents. So what kind of church, if we are going to establish one, are we going to have in this place? So those questions kept coming. I said, Lord, maybe we need a school in this place. It's a village where the large plantations here in the country have taken all the land, and we find only a very small land. So land is very scarce and competitive here. Last Sabbath, we did not have worship because of the rains. It rained so profusely that when we got here, we met some of the villagers going back to their homes. And I was like, whoa, why? I said, we cannot worship. It's not possible. Because the place we are using now is leaking everywhere. It's just a thatch building belonging to one of the people, one of the families worshiping with us. And it's a small structure of just about, the opening where we worship is just about 2 by 4 meters. And sometimes more than 30 of us have to cramp in such a place. Now, the reason, like I said, we did not have worship there is because it was raining so profusely, and there were raindrops all over the place. We could not put our small table we use as a form of pulpit. We could not hang any lesson. We couldn't do anything. You could not even open the Bible because it was raining. So we ended up in the houses of some people differently, having some studies here and there, visiting some of them and praying. This structure is going to guarantee that we don't have such a problem anymore. When we first got here, we met the village chief, who we can call the junior chief. And he promised to give us the land, but he turned around and asked for some money, which was quite much, and we didn't have it. So we gave up the idea, and we had almost abandoned it when the Lord kept impressing and telling other people to come and tell us that, hey, you must go ahead with that project. So, because of that, the Lord opened to us an idea that we could meet the senior chief, who is a paramount chief of this village and a group of other villages. So we went to him and we talked to him, and he didn't respond immediately. He said, I'm coming. Go and measure the place. I'll come and see you. We came. First time, second time, third time, he did not come. And then one day we decided to go there and say, hey, here's the car, please. Let's just go and you can see the place and tell us what to do because time is running out. So he came, walked around the place and just said, you can have it. You can have all of it. The next question was what to do with the land. We didn't have money. And I would say we are just trying sometimes to even supply our own basic needs. But by God's providence, one of the volunteers who came and worked here also from Europe made a donation of 873 euros. Now in some countries that can be a lot of money, in some of the African countries. But right where we live here in Cameroon, things are so expensive. I should say it's one of the most expensive countries in Africa. So that couldn't complete a building. But by faith we said, okay, let's see what we can do with that amount, while hoping God will bring some donation somewhere to complete it. So we got engaged, started the work. Everything here was at stake. Because some of the villagers were laughing us to scorn that, oh, that's just one of those people who come and deceive us and they'll never complete a structure. We've seen guys like that coming around sometimes. Some just come to make money for themselves and go and things like that. So there was everything here at stake. The reputation of the church. In fact, let me say God's name was at stake. And so we put it to God that, Lord, this structure is yours. If this school is completed, you'll have a solid church. You'll have children who can read and write, who can study for themselves the Bible. And that will give us best work so that we can move ahead. Because if they can read and understand, then we can have the chance of moving to other places where they can't read and understand. So we have to explain to them. And so everything here was a big risk. But we went ahead. And actually those who were laughing at us, they don't really know that we did not have the resources.